So a couple weeks ago, I did an FAQ or a mini deep dive rather about African black soap as well as Aleppo soap and talked about how it's made, how they both originated, where they originated, and the process for making, as well as my sort of feelings on, making them. And I did say with the African black that I don't feel real comfy doing so, but did mention because the Aleppo formulations sort of fascinate me that I wanted to try my hand at that. And that's what we are doing today. And so I used my me time to tell you about the video, but I'm still going to send you to the intro because it's my thing and I have to do my thing. So hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 323 of 365 days of soap. And today, as I said, we are doing Aleppo soaps. And so if you remember, what Aleppo soaps are, they're primarily basically a Castile or a Bastille, which is a bastardized version of a Castile, in that they are primarily olive oil, and then you add a laurel to that in different ratios and percentages of both the olive and the laurel in order to create very interesting bars. And when I read about that, I had always found that sort of interesting. Like, how different are we talking? Because from what they are saying, just with percentage usage, not only does the lather change the moisture properties, but it changes from being, a good bar for hair, for example, to a good bar for acne using nothing else. And I was interested for sure. So that's what we are doing today with this. And it's going to be fun. And I think we're also probably going to do a lather test. Yes. Oh, yeah. And we're doing something else too. Anyway, let's get to the video. We can talk about Aleppo soaps again and my thought process and all the jazz, there. Okay, so on to Aleppo soap testing, and we are doing two varieties. Today is the 70-30 blend, so 70% olive oil, 30% laurel. We are using soap nuts in addition because I want a better bubble than olive oil usually gives me. A 2-to-1 ratio with the water, and yeah. We are doing this for a number of reasons. One, we did a mini deep dive on Aleppo soap, its history, all the jazz, recently. And I thought it sounded kind of cool because apparently, according to the peoples, Aleppo soap is super special, right? It's highly moisturizing as a soap. It helps with psoriasis and eczema. It's really great for dandruff. It's a good shave bar. It's also a very good face mask, apparently. Like you take it and you put it on your face and the soap, and you just let it dry. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I literally have an Aleppo soap, this particular one, Aleppo soap face mask on right now. So I have all kinds of slimy lather just hanging out on my face. So I'll let you know by the end of this video what it feels like and all the jazz. But yeah, that's happening. And realistically, the reason why this soap is supposedly supposed to be so versatile and can be used for so many different things is going to be based on the percentages of laurel acid to laurel oil to your olive oil in the recipe. This particular recipe, 70% olive oil, 30% laurel, is going to be probably the most standard usage rate for an Aleppo soap, and it is meant to be very, very good as a shampoo. So there's that. If you are playing with the 40% laurel to the 60% olive, that's where you're supposed to be getting the really heavy hitters that are good for acne and eczema and psoriasis. And that kind of makes sense based on Aleppo's fatty acid profile. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But then the 80-20% is going to be really good for all, hair and face and body. Okay, and this is the 80-20 blend. So the exact same amount of water and lye, I think, and still going with the 2-to-1 ratio for the water and the lye. It's just 80% olive oil and 20% laurel, and still using soap nuts. Now I am doing a very teeny tiny batch of these guys for a reason. I want 1 bar of this that we can just kind of study and test and investigate over, the course of it, losing water weight and seeing if anything develops and the lather gets better and all of the things. And I just wanted the one to do that with. So that's why it's small. Also, the reason why it's small is because laurel oil is expensive, like really, really expensive. So I really didn't want to make a whole big batch of all of the different types of Aleppo soap that I wanted to make, and spend a whole crap ton of doll hairs on the laurel. So we're getting 1, bar of each of them to play with and test and do the things. Also, I did not do the 40 to 60% in this particular recipe, as I don't really have anyone to test on for the eczema and psoriasis and acne in my immediate family. But if you're interested, I suppose I can find a tester somewhere else that'd be willing to check it out and see if it's beneficial. I don't know. Okay, now on to the tests, and pay no attention to the thing in the middle there. That was something else, and I needed a mold for it. But anyway, so why is Aleppo soap so special? Well, in order to figure that out, we have to go to the fatty acid profiles, right? And so that is the second bar that we did. So that's the 80-20, right? It's going to get confusing when I start labeling this, but we know that that's the case because that's where I pulled it out of the mold. Well, the fatty acid profiles of the laurel are between 15 and 30% lauric acid, 10 to 20% palmitic, 20 to 40% oleic, and around 10% linoleic. Whereas the olive oil, which is notoriously, moisturizing, no lather, all of the things, it has 10 to 20% palmitic, so similar, 55 to 80% oleic, so that's where your big moisture for your gentle skin comes into play, and then 5 to 20% linoleic. So kind of similar with the linoleic. The real standout with the two is the lauric acid. Now, that's where you're going to be getting your very interesting, properties, skin properties, as far as antibacterial and good for eczema and all of the things. And also, it contributes to a good bubble. Now, that's important too. But when lauric acid is used in too high of amounts, it can be drying. How do we know that? Well, we know that because we know another oil that is very, very high in lauric acid, and that oil is called coconut oil. So to that, can't we get the same results from a coconut oil plus olive oil blend in these amounts? Because again, that's just a bastardized Castile. This is essentially a bastardized Castile, but super special. So it's, an interesting quandary considering the only difference really between the two oils is the amount of lauric acid. Olive oil reasonably has none, and the laurel oil has quite a bit. So what we are doing here is we are weighing these bars that I've cut a piece off so we can test the lather, and we will continue to test the lather and weigh the bars as we progress with all of the things, and just to see how long it takes to stop losing weight, because that is when your cure is done, my friends. And anybody who says otherwise is not accurate. Even in the case of olive oil, because that lather doesn't change too terribly much. Granted, it gets less slimy, but you're never going to fully lose that slime. I am going to show you that in real time and do all of the things. So we're going to go ahead and test this lather And this is the Aleppo Soap. Is this the second one or the first? Now I've confused myself. It has a decent, like it's wanting to bubble, right? It's really wanting to. But look, see the slime? It feels like I have snot on my hands. And that's standard with a primarily olive oil bar of soap. I don't like that. That's not a good feel for me. I understand that a lot of people love that, for sure, and it's very gentle on the skin, that slimy lather, and that's great. I don't really have problems with, you know, my skin needing moisture, so not in love with that. And that has also a really good lather. I really like that. I feel like that's probably going to be the 70-30 blend, but you know, let's make sure. Let's look at where I put them on the thing. And again, it gets confusing because I labeled them differently, but I did fix it for the second test. Remember, this one is done on the 27th and we weighed it out. And Aleppo 1 was the first one that I actually, you know, weighed out and tested. And Aleppo 2 was the second, but I fixed it on the piece of paper so we aren't confused anymore and retested it on the 1st of August. So Aleppo 1 was the 80-20, which was actually the second one we poured. And Aleppo 2 is the 70-30, which is the first one we poured. It weighs a little bit more, had a better bubble for sure. So there's the thing. So now we are weighing the Aleppo 1 and 4.13 ounces. It's lost a not insignificant amount of weight, you know, for what it is in 4 or 5 days. That's not bad. Also, yeah, I put 731 on there. I correct that later too. My brain is weird. But it did lose, you know, it lost I think, a pretty good amount of weight. I'm not going to maths right now and figure out what that amount is because it's hot and my brain hurts. So this is, again, the 70-30 Aleppo, and it lost around the same amount of weight. Now, both of these soaps are kept exactly like this on this piece of paper next to my dehumidifier in a cold space, not moved, not touched, until it is time for me to reweigh them and retest the lather, which I will continue doing with you guys until it stops losing weight. And so I don't know how long that's going to be. That could be a week, that could be a month, that could be a year. I don't know. We're just going to keep this going so you have a real-time visual of what happens when you have slippery soap, A, but 2, what happens during the cure time as it's losing all of its water weight. Now, that one there, still not a great lather. Less slimy, for sure. The 80-20 there, it is less slimy than it was before, but still feels pretty slimy. And this is the 70-30, which I have now let dry on my face. And my face feels really tight, actually. That's cool. I don't hate that. As far as how it feels, you know, when I wash it off, I'm sure it'll feel great. It's the most normal thing in the world to let soap dry on your face as a mask. Have you ever tried that? My mind is kind of blown. There is day 323. And there they are, 2 different versions of Aleppo Soap. And yeah, both with, you know, trying the lather right away, slimy. Just what you expect from a Castile soap, from a primarily olive oil soap, for sure. It has the potential for a good bubble, I think, maybe. But right now, it still feels like snot on my hands. So I don't like it. I am going to keep these, and I am going to, in real time, throughout, you know, whenever, just every once in a while, we're going to pop in and we're going to show you the date and do the weighing of the things and the testing of the lather so we can see, you know, what this whole cure thing is about, because I think it's actually kind of fun to do it this way and to show an actual example of, you know, when soap stops losing water weight, it's done curing. But I think we should probably do this with some standard batches as well, because my money is on these bars are going to be still losing weight for quite a while and being weird because it's basically an olive oil bar. But there's that for sure. I am also a little bit confused. I had seen online, and I think in a couple other pictures that people posted in my Discord, that this bar is supposed to be real green, right? And mine are not. And I didn't put clay in it. I didn't do anything. So I may have done something wrong anyway. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. But whatever. It was a fun time, and I hope you guys had a fun time. And, you know, the recipe is good. Try the thing. It's awesome, for sure. If you do try it, let me know. Especially let me know if yours actually gets dark, because mine's still real light. Anyway, yeah, I hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun. I think I already said that. My brain is still frazzled. I am still trying to recover from that day of, you know, that 56 hours straight, no sleep, you know, moment that I did last week. So sorry, but Sudsers, thank you. And I know that you guys are okay with me being frazzled because you love me almost as much as I love you. And I appreciate that. Tomorrow is going to be the kickoff of a full playlist that I'm dropping. So like 6 videos, same day. I have a playlist, which we'll talk more about tomorrow. But, you know, if you're interested, click the subscribe button so you get notified when I do drop it, and that would be cool. For those of you who have, you're my Sudsers, and you're the people that I love. Thank you. I still am having such a weird time ending videos this week. I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm out of here. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. That's it. That's what I say. Bye.